is the Asian market looking like? After that cheer, doesn't seem like that's continuing for the markets as well right now. A bit of a mixed opening that we're seeing for the Asian markets. So that is something that we're keeping an eye out on. Taiwan index, that's up 0.5%. Hang Seng is up 0.3%. But look at the Nikkei. That's what I want to talk about, right? Previously, it was closed in the trading session as well today, but the day before on Friday was a bumper day there. What we'll keep an eye out on is going to be the Trump and Xi's overall truce that comes in there. That is something keeping the sentiments upbeat. ASX 200, not much of a gain there. Shanghai again down 0.3%, and that's why I said a bit of a mixed opening, because Nifty implied open now is indicating a bit of a mixed start for the Indian markets as well. A bit of a subdued start is what we're keeping an eye out on. As of now, 46 points down is what the Nifty implied open is indicating. But how will all these overnight cues impact our Indian market? We have a team of research joining in with us to set us up for trade, tell you which are the important stocks to watch out for as well in today's trading session. First up, Hormaz, good morning. Which are those important cues that we're keeping an eye out on this week? Obviously, it's a truncated week, but today, what is the key?
Well, if only last night's win would have had any positive bearing on our markets. But indeed, it's a truncated week, but not short of action, to say the least. And the Nifty has been following a very simple template over the last couple of weeks. The dips are getting bought into, but the rallies are getting sold into. It's been a very narrow range for the index all through last week. It's a 400-point range, some support around the 25,700 mark, but the struggle to cross that 26,000, 26,100 zone has been very evident over the last week. Though the bulls will not like that fact. Other than that, the fact that we closed near the lowest point of the day and we even broke the last week's low of 25,720 and we closed near those levels, that is something that the bulls will not like as well. The other bit, of course, being that the banking and IT index heavyweights are not contributing to the index recovery. They were the underperformers last week, and it is only the PSU banks among the banking stocks that are doing the heavy lifting. There was an outperformer last week as well, and the bulls would be hoping that this momentum continues, and the PSU banks not having a significant weightage on the Nifty bank is showing on the Nifty bank's underperformance. The index is down almost 700 to 800 points now from the record highs that it made earlier. For the index, of course, for the Nifty, now last week's low 25,711 becomes the important zone to defend, and for the Nifty bank, the last week's low of 57,652, that becomes an important level to defend for the index. Of course, this is a very important week, even though it is a truncated one, because almost 200 companies report results today. 15 Nifty stocks report results today. That includes SBI, Bharti Airtel, Sun Pharma, Titan, Bajaj Auto, all of them. Not many global cues to watch out for, because after the big tech results and the Fed policy, most of them are now behind. So we will continue to focus on results. We'll watch out for auto sales reactions, GST collections. But one thing to worry about is the extended monsoons, whether that will have an impact on the inflation figures or the demand for a lot of these consumer durables as well. That is something that needs to be kept an eye out for. For now, the GIFT Nifty is indicating a marginally lower start for our markets. Be interesting to see if some support emerges at lower levels.
Okay, Hormaz, thank you so much for that. The earnings number did give me a bit of a fright when you did say that. But yes, we'll be keeping an eye out on all those earnings that will be coming out as well. But let's go across to Sonal now, who's here to tell us which are the important stocks that we're keeping an eye out on. Good morning, Sonal.
Good morning, Winnie. Well, let me start with BPCL. It was a good set, strong refining performance this time around, slightly lower than the poll, but quarter on quarter it was a growth in margins and profits were up 5%. Their GRMs came in at $10.8 per barrel versus an estimate of $7.5 per barrel. For Godrej Consumer, the revenues were up 4.3%, but the EBITDA was down 3.5%, but the numbers are largely in line with the CNBC-TV18 poll. BEL in its conference call did give some guidance. They spoke about how EBITDA margins will be similar to current levels. They're expecting 27% plus margins in FY26, and they do have orders worth 2,000 crore rupees in the pipeline to be received in the next 2 weeks. Bank of Baroda, we did get their operational update. The loan growth came in at 11.9% YOY. Both their gross NPA and net NPA have seen a decline on a quarter-on-quarter basis. It was a good set reported by the bank. Vedanta on its conference call gave important commentary. They are confident of completing demerger by the end of this financial year. Very important. Of course, we'll hear more from the management as well. Tata Chemicals, it was a net profit decline of 60% on a YOY basis to come in at 77 crore rupees. And of course, we'll have all the auto stocks on our radar as well. We got auto sales over the weekend, so we'll watch out for them as well.
Okay, Sonal, thank you so much for that. But finally, let's go across to Sudarshan, who's here to tell us what are the important cues in the world of F&O today. Good morning, Sudarshan.
Good morning, Vinny. So it's cheer on the street across the country, and that's the courtesy that Indian women's team won the World Cup for the very first time. But the same is not mirroring for our market because FI selling is back. And last week we saw that the selling that we saw in the last 2 days has led to the negative returns for both Nifty and Sensex, while it was a minor green, weekly green for Nifty Bank. And for today, also following the mixed global cues, GIFT Nifty is indicating start with a cut of around 40 to 50 points. Look at the flows. In the cash market, we saw FI selling more than rupees 6,700 crore. But again, on a regular basis that we have been seeing, DIs have offset that. DIs have bought more than rupees 7,000 crore. In the index futures too, we have seen FI selling more than rupees 1,600 crore. Now long exposure has reduced to 16%. They have also added short positions of more than 7,700 contracts, and that was reflecting in the options data as well. On the call side for both 25,800 and 25,900, we have seen premium falling, while on the put side for 25,700 and 25,800 for both these strike rates, premium has increased further. Support for Nifty 25,530, resistance would be 26,000. For Nifty Bank, support would be 57,200 and resistance would be 58,000. Not even a single stock is in the band, but I'll keep an eye on first Kotak Mahindra. For the last few sessions after Q2 earnings, stock has been under pressure, and on Friday also it has seen fresh shorts. And on the long side, Phoenix, keep an eye, it has reported Q2 earnings and earnings looked very strong, and the stock has been seeing fresh longs.
Okay, Sudarshan, thank you so much for that. But